Okay. Mm. Good morning, both online and offline team.
Ma'am, good morning.
Morning. Okay, to start with, do you have any questions on your previous topics? Okay, in case if you don't have any questions, we'll move with your today's topic. Your today's topic will be regarding your cardiovascular system. Okay, well, so generally to talk with what is your cardiovascular system is, the word cardio means it represents your heart, and vascular na it represents your blood vessels. Okay. So here you will be studying about your heart and the blood and blood products. So generally why your heart and blood vessels are interrelated is the basic function of your heart is to pump your blood only. So that is why always your heart and the vascular structures will be interrelated. Okay. So moving towards your heart region, actually your heart is a muscular organ which will be having which the major function of your heart is to pump the blood. Okay, it will be receiving a deoxygenated blood from the all parts of body, and then it will be with the help of the lungs. It will be purifying the blood, and it gets oxygenated, and the oxygenated blood will be carried to the heart, and it will be distributing to the remaining part of your body. Okay, so that is what the basic function of your heart is. So actually, your heart will have a, rhythmic contraction of the movements. That is how your heart contracts and relax, and it will be taking the blood in and out of the heart to the other parts of your body. So that contraction and relaxation only will be getting filling your heart with the blood. Whenever your heart relax, the blood will be getting filled up. Whenever your heart contracts, the blood will be pushed from the heart to the other parts of your body. So moving towards your vessels, how it will be present is you will be having your arteries, veins, and capillaries. So generally, your arteries will be carrying the oxygenated blood through the from the heart to the remaining parts of your body, whereas your vein will be carrying a deoxygenated blood from the other parts of the body into the heart, and your capillaries is the place where your arteries and veins get interconnected. That area is called as an capillaries. So depending on your size also, the size of the artery will be larger, and then the vein, and finally it will be your capillaries. So moving towards the shape of the heart, actually your heart will be a cone-like shape. Okay. So what is the cone content is, whenever you see a cone, okay, I saw the cone and all, if you see, the base will have a wider part, and then you will be having a two surfaces, and then if you see the tip also, it will be little bit of flat like content now. So that is the difference between your triangle and the cone. Triangle edges will be sharp. Cone even your edges also will be flat edges now. So that it will be having a apex, base, anterior and posterior side. So now moving towards the size. Actually, the size of the heart is 10 centimeter long, and it usually depends upon each and every individual. So how the size of the heart will be taken is, it will be measured with the closed fist. Whenever you open your hand and you close all your four fingers with the thumb inside. Okay. So whatever the size and the shape of your hand is, that is how the shape of your heart will be. You need to first close your thumb finger, and then other remaining four fingers should be closing along with your thumb. So that will be the size and the length of your heart. So that is why each and every individual's heart size will be different. Okay. And moving towards your weight, normally in female it will be 250 to 300 grams, and male it will be 300 to 350 grams. Okay, why it is a normal adult weight of the organ. And if you're going to go for the location where it will be placed is, usually it will be placed in your thoracic cavity only. So anteriorly, if you see, you will be having your sternum or your chest bone, and posteriorly, if you see, you will be having your spinal bones. So between your spinal bones and the sternum only, the heart will be present. So that is how the thoracic cavity will be formed itself. Your sternum should be anterior, posterior you should have the vertebral bones, and in the lateral it will be covered with your ribs. So moving towards your function, the major function of your cardiovascular system is it need to deliver the oxygen and nutrition to the all parts of body, and then it need to remove the deoxygenated blood from the other parts of the body. So moving towards your structures of the heart. Okay. How the layers of your heart will be present is your heart will have three layers. Okay, your pericardium, myocardium, and the endocardium. Okay. The by the name itself will say how the layers has been arranged. Endocardium means close to your heart, and then myocardium means the middle or the layer which is made up of the muscle layer of your heart, and then your pericardium is the outer layer of the heart. You know? And in the myocardium, if you see, you will be having a special type of muscles called as an cardiac muscles, which helps in the contraction and the relaxation of your heart to produce the rhythmic heartbeat. Okay. And same way moving towards your pericardium, in the pericardium you will be having a fibrous pericardium and the serous pericardium. Okay, so in the serous pericardium only you will be having your parietal and the visceral pericardium, not in your fibrous. Okay, so fibrous will be the outer covering, and then above your fibrous inside you will be having a serous pericardium. Your serous pericardium again it will be having two layers. One is your parietal pericardium and visceral pericardium. Okay, and in between these two pericardial layers you will be having a fluid running called as an pericardial fluid. So all the structures, how it will be placed is it will be placed inside your thoracic cavity. So outer length, if you want to see, it will be your fibrous pericardium. So from the fibrous pericardium, you will be having a serous. Serous the parietal will be the outer layer and visceral will be the inner layer. And then after your visceral, you will be having your cardiac muscle will be present. And then finally, next to your cardiac muscle, you will be having your endocardium. Outer the inner.
The heart is an organ that beats throughout the lifetime of a person. Are you aware that in an average lifespan of 70 years, it beats about 2.5 billion times? The heart beats rhythmically due to the electrical impulses which cause synchronized contraction of the heart muscles. These impulses cause the contractions of the atrium and the ventricles, which allow the heart to pump blood. But have you ever wondered what controls the heartbeat? Cardiac pacemaker. The heartbeat is generated and controlled by a pacemaker present in the heart. It also possesses specialized excitatory conducting system, which ensures the rhythmic beating of all the cardiac muscles. The walls of the atria form the atrial syncytium, and the two ventricular walls constitute the ventricular syncytium. The pacemaker is located in the wall of the right atrium. It is also known as sinoatrial node or SA node. The SA node generates an impulse which spreads across the walls of the atria through the specialized conducting system, causing both atria to contract in unison. During atrial contraction, this electrical impulse reaches the atrioventricular node or AV node. Here, the impulse is delayed for about 0.1 second, after which it moves along the bundle of His, bifurcates into bundle branches before spreading along the Purkinje fibers. The impulse reaches the lateral ventricular walls and causes its contraction. Thus, the impulse generated at the SA node causes atrial contraction and flow of blood into ventricles, and then the ventricles contract, pumping the blood out of the heart. It is the impulse generated by the SA node that causes the heart's chamber and valves to work in tandem. We can now observe the impulse conduction and heartbeat in synchronization with the blood flow. The cardiac cycle begins with the SA node generating an impulse, which spreads to the two atrial walls and also reaches the AV node. The two atria which form the atrial syncytium contract. The AV node delays the transmission of the impulse by 0.1 second, which allows the atria to empty completely before the ventricles begin to contract. Then, the impulse moves along the bundle of His, and finally through the Purkinje fibers to spread all over the ventricular walls. Finally, the ventricular syncytium contracts, thus pumping the blood out through the aorta and pulmonary artery. This is the end of one cardiac cycle.
The heart is located in the thoracic cavity, in between the two lungs. 2/3 of the heart is located to the left of the midline of the body, and 1/3 is located to the right. The heart is a hollow muscular organ of somewhat conical form with an upper broad part, the base, and a lower narrow part, the apex. An adult heart is about 5 inches long, 3.5 inches wide, and 2.5 inches from front to back. Internally, the heart is divided into 4 chambers, 2 upper and 2 lower. The upper 2 chambers are called atria, and the lower 2 are called ventricles. The right atrium opens on the right ventricle via the tricuspid valve, while the left atrium opens to the left ventricle via the mitral valve. The thick muscle wall running down the middle of the heart is called septum. It divides the auricles and ventricles.